Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Lately, it's alleged that AUC instructed Kenya to submit Raila Odinga's name before the end of August.
The African Union sent a notification to the government to submit the name of Azimio leader Raila Odinga.
So that is in line with the regulations of the AUC, for those people who have shown interest in vying for that position. So circular that came to the government of Kenya, was that they should submit the name. So that was received through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The video that surfaced yesterday about Somalia's and Kenya's meeting, one that I did in a previous analysis, is already showing positive impact in this, because word has it that Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi tried to convince the government of Somalia to stand down on their proposal of Fauzia, and I mentioned it in my previous analysis, ladies and gentlemen. So in this analysis, I want us to go deeper into those two narratives: AUC requesting Kenya to submit Raila Odinga's name, and the government moving with speed to try to contain this growing influence of Somalia Matters OIC move. But before you do that, please like this video, because that is the only way you support the work of our channel, because by liking, YouTube shares this video to so many other people. So if you're not subscribed to our channel, also please subscribe to this channel, and to existing subscribers, thank you so much for your support. Earlier on, there was a video that surfaced of Raila and Megwhitman.
Azimio coalition leader Raila Odinga's bid for the African Union chairperson position will be formal in August this year.
First, let me remind you about the relationship between the two leaders. Last year, you remember how Raila Odinga hit at Megwhitman the moment Megwhitman found herself engaged in the Kenyan politics, especially the electoral politics. So ever since that time, we have never seen Raila Odinga and Megwhitman discuss issues. We never saw them, and Megwhitman libidi aende chini ya maji kidogo, because now this thing had turned political. And you remember the response that Raila gave soon after Megwhitman made that disturbing comment about IEBC.
Ambassador, leave Kenyans alone. Kenya is not a colony of the United States. Keep your mouth shut when you're here. Otherwise, you will call for your recall back to your country.
In the latest happening, ladies and gentlemen, a video surfaced of Megwhitman and Raila Odinga and a meeting. Now, this was symbolic in a way that I could only look at it from this perspective, that maybe Megwhitman is also doing some shuttle diplomacy, trying to convince those other ambassadors in those other African countries to try to convince those other governments to rally behind Raila. Let me remind you that US wants Raila Odinga to be the AUC chair. They want him. They believe that he is better placed to rally Africa behind the West, or because they see Raila Odinga as a Pan-Africanist. Whitman represents US. And if Megwhitman has been doing those kind of meetings with Raila and looking at the facial expression of Raila Odinga, one could easily tell, that the US are also involved in this matter. So, first, AUC requests the government to submit Raila Odinga's name. Second, the Prime Cabinet Secretary Mudavadi convenes a meeting of Kenyan delegation, Somalia delegation, to try to find an amicable way of getting the Somalia counterpart to withdraw their candidacy. Then OIC, Organization of Islamic Countries, which form 50 countries, but in Africa we know there are 26 countries, they also show their indications of supporting Fauzia of Somalia. If you look at these events, all of them, look at the way they are unfolding, then you must realize that something is at a very higher level. all these things are only pointing to the fact that the issue of Raila Odinga AUC candidacy imefika at an advanced level. And maybe the OIC were only threatening Kenya by showing indication of supporting Somalia, so that Kenya can convene a meeting with the Somalia delegation so that they can discuss matters development. So that if they agree on issues, then Somalia will be able to withdraw their candidacy. Because right now what Somalians are trying to do is to simply spoil chances of Kenya. Probably to do that so that Djibouti's candidates can win. I mean, those are some of the things which we see, ladies and gentlemen. So let's say if Somalia withdraws, Somalia withdraws their candidature, there will still be a problem with Djibouti, despite the fact that we know that the person that will carry the day is Raila Odinga. But Djibouti will still pose another challenge, because the OIC members, if at all they are not supporting Kenya at all, they might throw their weight behind Djibouti. Now, Kenya will also find themselves again calling for a delegation of the Djibouti people so that they can also negotiate matters development. So it's still going to be a bit tricky for Kenya, but Raila has an upper hand in this post. Most likely he is going to be the AUC chair. That's what I see, ladies and gentlemen. And AUC has already indicated that countries willing to have who have candidates to submit their names. I think these names are supposed to be, you submit your request via, I think it's via a written letter, and it's on delivery, and that letter is going to meet the legal team of the AUC chair, which is going to look at the letter and what you intend to do for the continent. So people already know Raila Odinga as a pan-Africanist. Well, that cannot be said for people like Fauzia, can't be said for people like Mahmoud Yusuf. It can't be said for them. But for someone like Raila Odinga, in fact, even Malema, Julius Malema said so. Museveni said so. Mama Sulu. So many leaders have said so. The former president of Nigeria, Obasanjo, said so. So I think Raila still matters of Pan-Africanism, because that is the biggest point. Are you a Pan-Africanist? Do you represent the agendas of the Pan-Africans? Or are you a country that supports the French? And the French have not been have been literally being kicked out of Africa. So like the issue of Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, they've been literally kicking out French. So where do you lie in? So there are so many other factors which will play here. But the bottom line is that if you are pro-West, then you might carry the day. Of course, that is something that we already know. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to rest my case here. But what do you think about this latest development? Personally, I think Raila is headed in the right direction, and going forward, something positive is going to happen. So perhaps if you watch this video and you're not subscribed, please take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.